More Ridge Holland controversy, heat backstage in AEW, and the crazy story of two wrestlers walking out on Collision. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. This is Nixon Newell. Back in the 2010 glory days of British independent wrestling, she was all our favourite wrestler. She wrestled for promotions like Progress and Shimmer, and she was the inaugural WCPW Women's Champion. So, like anyone getting over in mid-2010s British wrestling, WWE signed her to NXT UK, but her WWE run as Tegan Nox was plagued by injuries and releases. She tore her ACL in the 2018 Mae Young Classic, putting her out for 9 months, and she tore it again in September 2020. Because WWE tended not to fire wrestlers when they were injured back then, they gave her 10 months to recover, called her up to the main roster, and then released her. Triple H re-signed Newell a year later once he got control of the company back from Vince McMahon. But it seemed he never really had anything for her. She teamed with Liv Morgan and, as usual when WWE doesn't know what to do with a female wrestler, Natalya, but they released her for a second time in November 2024. She returned to the independent circuit in 2025, and in October, almost a year after her second WWE release, AEW booked her and her tag team partner Miranda Elise against Megan Bayne and Shayna Baszler for the 29th of October episode of Collision. Their partnership got some attention outside of the usual professional wrestling circles. Newell and Elise are also in a real-life relationship, prompting Out Sports to cover their story. But allegedly, all was not well behind the scenes. Newell and Elise lost their match on Collision in under 3 minutes, which made sense, as Shafir and Bayne are not only two of the most protected women in the company, they were also being built up for the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament. Shafir wasn't originally supposed to be in the team. Bayne's usual partner Penelope Ford got injured the previous week, so AEW presumably wanted to do a squash match to quickly get over how effective this new unit is in the ring. But this is 2025, so some people complained about that on Twitter. Some people that included Elise and Newell themselves. They had been booked as a follow-up on Saturday the 8th's live episode of Collision, but then they didn't appear on the show. So Elise posted, "We've got so much to say. Loads of ellipses," before her and Newell started reposting criticism of AEW's booking of them. PW Insider then reported that there had been a late change to the Collision booking. Elise and Newell were scheduled to lose to Tay Mello and Anna Jay, but Nixon Newell and Miranda Elise refused to lose, ironically the name of a WCPW show once upon a time, in their second appearance for the promotion. The duo left the taping about an hour before bell time and were replaced by Hyan and Maya World. PW Insider is told that AEW was appreciative of World and Hyan stepping up and that each gained points internally. Fightful looked into the situation themselves and confirmed that Newell and Elise's match for the 8th of November Collision was cancelled. But it wasn't because they didn't want to lose what would have been their second match in AEW. It's because they wanted more than 3 minutes of in-ring TV time. AEW explained that the timings for the show had already been set and couldn't be changed. Elise was reportedly very vocal about wanting more TV time, both backstage and online after the show, and Nixon was supporting her. AEW couldn't or wouldn't budge on their timings, so Newell and Elise left about an hour before the show began and were replaced with Hyan and Maya World, Fightful wrote. AEW officials told us they were shocked by the situation. There were a number of talent who know and like Elise and Nixon Newell, who contacted Fightful and felt like the duo should have handled things differently. It's weird, because back in June, Newell had said in an interview that she was finding her post-WWE career a nightmare because of a severe lack of bookings. Apparently, friends of Newell heard that and asked AEW management to bring her in, but this reportedly wasn't the first issue AEW had with Newell. In an update, Fightful wrote that Newell also wasn't happy about how her debut match against Bayne and Shafir was booked for the 29th of October episode. The word in the locker room was that Newell wanted Bayne to sell for her and Elise more, which wasn't Bane's decision. Like I said earlier, AEW wanted to establish Bane and Shafir as a new dominant tag team. Bane wasn't in a position to then go, yeah, let me sell for these two new women AEW fans have never seen before in a 2.5-minute match. One source said Newell got excited about her debut, but then disappointed when she realized her match would be over so quick. But another said Bane was legitimately frustrated because she felt like Newell wasn't cooperating with her in the actual match. Fightful reached out to Newell for comment, who replied, "No, we had no disagreement. Miranda and I are really the only ones that have the details about how yesterday went." Newell and Elise then told their side of the story on their Twitch stream. They confirmed that the disagreement was over the 3-minute match time. They didn't mind losing their second match, they just felt after a promo they did, a short match wouldn't benefit anyone. They claimed AEW appreciated their feedback and there wasn't any negativity. They were told they were free to leave if they wanted, and that many people there agreed 3 minutes was too short for their match. But not everyone, because several in the AEW women's roster have been increasingly vocal about the situation on Twitter, without referencing Newell and Elise by name. Leela Gray wrote, "Meanwhile, some people in the back would kill for those 3 minutes on TV." Taya Valkyrie posted, "At the end of the day, this is a business. It is our job. It doesn't matter if you get 1 minute or 45. You make every second in front of those fans and on that TV count. It is an honor and a privilege to be part of the show. I've been doing this for 15 years and I've been in every position, good, bad, champ, enhancement, and every single aspect of the show, small or big, is important. Make it count. Heart emoji." And that's my TED Talk. And the Outrunners, who have been in the business for well over 6 decades, complained, "Turbo and I almost walked out last night when there was no Caesar salad and catering." It's been an odd weekend for British wrestlers losing sympathy amongst a fan base, because there's now controversy surrounding Ridge Holland. WWE controversially told Ridge Holland his contract wouldn't be renewed when it expired, even though he had just broken his foot in a match for them. This will mean he won't be able to earn money from wrestling for the 6 months left of his recovery. He complained about this publicly, saying he's worrying about paying his mortgage and that he feels like WWE has totally f***ed him. So WWE did totally f*** him, and then released him from his contract 8 days before it was due to expire anyway. Ridge confirmed his release in an interview with TMZ, sounding like a man who had just received a strong legal letter. The most recent thing was definitely down to, I think, my outburst on Twitter. So I've got to take responsibility for that. I just needed to vent and I didn't go about it in the right way. We all signed a contract. Unfortunately, in that contract, there is a termination clause, and I breached that. So that's a responsibility that I have to take. WWE, with the contract I signed, are within their rights to do that. As much as people want to point a finger at the dub, you probably want to point the other 3 fingers at myself. But what about the thumb? But then it got weird. Over the weekend, a GoFundMe was launched to raise money for Ridge called "Give Hope to a Family Facing Unimaginable Hardship." The description laid the harsh reality of WWE's decision to cut him. A hard-working husband, a devoted wife, 3 beautiful children, and a devastating injury that threatens to take it all away. We're reaching out with heavy hearts on behalf of a dear family in crisis. A loving father of 3 suffered injuries whilst on the job. Injuries that have not only left him unable to work, but also abandoned by the very company he served. Despite being injured at work, he was hired as a 1099 contractor, meaning he's not eligible for workers' compensation, sick leave, or any support from the employer. Since the injury, the company has offered to pay for medical expenses, but no pay, no new contract. The family has already endured a 55% pay cut last year and have done everything possible to reduce their expenses. He is now facing months of recovery, including another surgery in March of next year and potentially a neck surgery this month, leaving him unable to return to work until at least late April or early May if recovery goes as hoped. Amos, Raj Desi, the former Jinder Mahal, Carl Fletcher, Chelsea Green, Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks all donated $1,000 each. But then it came out Ridge didn't set up this fundraiser himself. His mum did. Susan posted an update. "Hello everyone, I wanted to write this update to let you know that I'm the mum of the father that you are all supporting. I set this fundraiser up for the family without them knowing because I want to help. I also wanted to thank you all for your support. It is very much appreciated." Ridge himself then issued a statement on the GoFundMe, maybe not learning that lesson of sometimes think, pause, and then probably delete that tweet. Thank you all for the incredible support shown through the GoFundMe campaign. However, I want to clarify that I was not aware the page was going live and had no prior discussion with the family member who created it. I've since requested that no further donations be accepted, and this change should take effect within the next 24 hours. Once we figure out how to move forward and I recoup the amount donated, I will be donating said amount to charity. I sincerely apologize if the page caused any upset or offense. That was never the intention. Thank you for your understanding and kindness. It was an unfortunately confusing way of putting it, as people then thought he would be donating the raised money to charity now. So he posted again, this time in all caps, I am not donating the GoFundMe money! Once I am earning money and in a position to donate, I will donate to charity. This will be the money I earn, not the GoFundMe money. I am not a scammer. Yes, it's not the best PR response, but you also have to remember this is a human being facing a very difficult life situation. He's likely tweeting from a place of panic. As of this Friday, he will no longer be getting paid by WWE, and he's got a wife and 3 children to support and potentially more health complications to come. Yet some are rather cynically blaming it on Holland not being more prepared, rather overlooking the whole injury on WWE's watch aspect of the story. I thought Jinder Mahal, one of the donators to the GoFundMe, had the best response. WWE does have financial education programs. Just curious, how much do you think NXT talent make when you subtract travel, wrestling gear, maintaining a professional athlete physique, gym and supplements? Now subtract taxes. Now, with what's left, try raising a family, paying for groceries, rent, mortgage, car payments and personal health insurance for you and your family. Now factor in not being able to earn income due to injury. Finally, add the fact that you no longer have WWE provided health insurance for wrestling related injuries and you're staring at a possible neck surgery. Click the video on screen now to watch me, Luke, Laurie and Sullivan play the all-time wrestling board game, which was chaos.